How's it going, everybody? On the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading with the prices going up or down. Shibarium early beta test is live. Today, more than ever, we see the need for truly decentralized L2 network that powers projects of a large global decentralized community. Shibariums have been subject to outdated systems and methods of control that harm Shibkind. Luckily, Shibarium is an opportunity to change that, and today we take another step in the direction of freedom and a righteous planet. How do you ask? Well, today we begin the early beta test of the Shibarium network, which we call PuppyNet. We've mentioned many times Shibarium is a layer 2 blockchain that allows anyone to build dApps, integrate into IRL businesses, and power projects with it. It is low cost and burdens SHIB in the process and is being adjusted as the beta continues over the next few months. So key takeaway there, this open beta is going to be around for a little while. Shibarium is only limited by the imagination, as anyone can build on the Shibarium network. In fact, for the TLDR people, this is an open early beta test, so go ahead, you can access it here, and they link it twice. Well, third time down here, so they really want you to join if you want to get in. For those who wish to be validators next week, the documentation will follow so you can set up a test node. But there are a few things to remember. SHIB burdens will depend on the transactions on the network, and there will be a running chart for the burnt SHIB in the SHIB burn portal. All tokens on PuppyNet are not real. Don't spend your hard-earned SHIBs on these tokens if you see them, no matter how hard anyone shills them. Shibarium has two Twitter accounts, which are ShibariumNet and ShibariumTech. All others are imposters. Over the beta, it'll become more apparent the difference between the two, but they'll work in tandem to give an outstanding experience to the Shibarians. Also, if you're in Austin, stop by the SHIB Metaverse booth. The MV team has set up early alpha experience of the WAGMI temple for media and community to view. So this is the temple. They have a few pictures. So this metaverse actually looks pretty good. Way better than some of the ones I've actually played in, so we'll see how it is when it's actually released. The biggest fun and fodder goes to a dude making a competing product trying to convince you that SBF is Ryoshi. Now the team and everyone that ever saw Ryoshi post is done laughing. Let's give two pieces of mean advice to this guy. Ryoshi is a big fan of wrestling, WWF wrestling to be specific, and he shows gifts of people like Macho Man Randy Savage and Ric Flair. Didn't include that when you were trying to link him to SBF. At one point, we even considered getting Ric Flair for a SHIB commercial. SBF wasn't even born at that time, so how would he know to step into a Slim Jim? More importantly, Ryoshi, as seen in his post, was not a fan of centralized exchanges and would never run one himself. Do better, fudders. Do better. Vitalik Buterin drops altcoins worth 220 ETH that have no moral value. Vitalik Buterin, a co-founder of Ethereum blockchain, liquidated a portion of his altcoin holdings this week, saying that the tokens had no cultural or moral value. Buterin sold 9.9 billion Colt, which is for Colt DAO, and he sold his Byte and MOPS. I don't know why all this highlighted. So he sold those three coins. Byte. The most other coins being discussed on this forum are S coins, Buterin wrote on Reddit. They have no redeeming cultural or moral value, and they'll probably lose you most of the money you put into them. And he anti-endorses these projects to the greatest extent. So he's saying stay away from these, don't even put $1 in. In 2021, he did have a big swing of SHIB because he burned $6 billion worth because he was given half of the token supply. At that time, he said he didn't want the tokens because he didn't want the power of holding half the supply of a coin. It wasn't because it was an S coin. Circle stands behind USDC to cover 3.3 billion shortfall as Circle lost its peg. USDC stablecoin issuer Circle has claimed that it'll cover any shortfall caused by the result of the 3.3 billion in its funds held by collateralized Silicon Valley Bank. Circle wrote that the company is legally obligated to stand behind USDC and will cover any shortfall using corporate resources and external capital if necessary. I think that'll be necessary, and we'll get into why. To ensure that the stablecoin can be redeemed at a ratio of 1.1 to the dollar, CEO Jeremy Allaire reiterated that the commitment in the Twitter thread. Wow, can't read there. On Friday, USDC lost its peg to the US dollar following a bank run on Silicon Valley Bank, or SVB, and a disclosure that $3.3 billion in Circle's cash reserves was held by the bank that the FDIC had taken over. So, pretty funny that the Fed government took this bank over and is crashing, but they're worried about the crypto contagion. Overnight, USDC fell to 87 cents, the lowest since 2019, before regaining ground, currently trading at 95 cents from the time this article is written. USDC is currently collateralized 77% with US Treasury bills and 23% with cash held at a variety of institutions, of which SVB is only one, Circle wrote. Circle says the remaining 23%, around $9.7 billion, is in cash, and Circle deposited $5.4 billion with BNY Mellon to reduce bank risk. The company says that Consumer Bank holds another $1 billion in USDC reserves, adding that Circle maintains transaction and settlement accounts for USDC with Signature Bank. So most of their stuff's going through Signature Bank, so they're not really too affected by this, they're saying. $3.3 billion of USDC's cash reserves remain with SVB, Circle said. As of Thursday, we had initiated transfers of these funds to other banking partners. Though these transfers had not been settled, as of the close of business Friday, we remain confident that the FDIC's management of SVB's situation and stand ready to receive these funds. Hopefully the FDIC can get this resolved that way and it can just go through, because if this does not happen, I think FDIC insurance only covers $250,000, at least for you and me it does, unless SVB has a special policy since they're a bank. USDC has zero exposure to collapsed crypto-friendly bank Silvergate, saying that the company transferred the limited reserves the company had at Silvergate before the bank closed. And there's not really too much here, so we'll go on to the next. Coinbase updates staking service following regulatory crackdown. Coinbase today told users that it is updating the terms and conditions of the staking service. America's biggest cryptocurrency exchange said in an email to customers on Friday that staking will continue and emphasize that clients will earn rewards through protocols and not Coinbase itself. Staking is the process of locking up cryptocurrency to keep a blockchain's network running. Proof-of-stake assets such as Ethereum, Cardano, or Solana require people to pledge blockchain's native cryptocurrency to the network and earn rewards for doing so. Coinbase acts only as a service provider, connecting you to the validators and the protocol. There will also be a transparent Coinbase fee. The biggest change ever, however, is that users must now unstake certain assets before selling or transferring them, or being able to stake them. We'll get into that, which brings Coinbase's service more in line with the kinds of staking services that exist on blockchain networks natively. The assets that must now be unstaked on Coinbase are Solana, Cosmos, Cardano, and Tezos. Up to now, users who hold Solana on Coinbase, for instance, earn staking rewards passively without needing to opt into the service and can transfer and sell those assets whenever they wish, but that's changing. So you actually have to stake everything to get staking rewards. Coinbase now cautions that any asset staked on its platform may take between a few hours and a few weeks before it can be unstaked and then moved or sold. The time required is due to protocol rules and Coinbase's processing time, the email told customers. The update to these terms come after the SEC last month fined Kraken because of their staking product that allegedly violated securities laws. According to the SEC, the staking services may run afoul of federal security laws in the US when exchanges make themselves too much of an intermediary by determining the returns its customers would receive instead of strictly the protocol. So this is why Coinbase is shifting to the protocol deciding what you get, and they're just the middleman, because that's more in line with securities. So that's kind of concerning, because that may mean that everything could be a security, like we were hoping that wouldn't happen. So, over on the daily, we got a couple things to unpack here. So, we had this rising channel, and we had a descending channel earlier this week. We have made the full breakdown from this rising channel now, so this pattern can go away. and we won't have to worry about a rise up later unless we don't get through that psychological support, but that'll be completely separate from that pattern. We are printing that green dot that has been saying that we're kind of getting. Money flow is very sketchy right now as it's almost come out, but our VWAP is bullish right now and our stochastic's starting to head up. Our RSI is not really going anywhere, but that's because our stochastic has no strength. So once that stochastic can start to pick up and our money flow starts to pick up, then we may see that RSI start to pick up and we could make a bounce from here. Over on the 4 hour, we had a symmetrical triangle that we were breaking out of, but looks like we have fallen back into it. So we could end up having that be a bearish pattern. Stochastic's pretty overbought right now. RSI is heading up pretty strong. Our money flow is kind of flat. Our momentum is heading up. So momentum and stochastic and RSI are looking good. Our VWAP is heading up. It's just our money flow that's kind of on the worrisome side right now. But do remember this is a symmetrical triangle, and since it's from a downtrend, it's also a bear pendant, which could break us down again. Our stochastics got a lower high, but so does price, so we don't have a bearish divergence. This could be a bearish engulfing candle though on the 2 hour, so be wary of that. RSI is starting to point down, momentum looks like it could curl out, and our VWAP is starting to head back down, and our money flow was heading up pretty decently, but now it's starting to fall back down again. If we look at the 1 hour, our money flow is kind of just creeping around this area near that neutral zone. If we can manage to break through and hold, that'd be a very positive sign. We did get a green dot that could signal that we have some more run up and could invalidate this pattern, but we'll need to see that money flow keep going up. We'll need to see that VWAP start to head up. Our momentum wave is starting to round off. Our RSI is pretty strong, but our stochastic could give some of that strength up. So we're looking kind of dodgy here and might start to fall. I think if we look over at the 30-minute, which I don't typically look at the really low time frames too much, our money flow has maintained in the green for quite a few candles now. You can see money flow was in the red pretty strongly. This whole breakdown that we had, kind of this whole flat action that we had, the money flow's just been in the red, and when we're in the bullish area, it was more peaking in the green. Get rid of this pop-up. We were in the red back here when we started the run-up, but once we started to get in the green, we got a better, stronger run-up. So this could signal that we may soon see some upside, and that we may have some sort of a bottom here, or at least a local bottom after hitting this support zone. So that is a little bit of positivity. Over on graph, we're not going to look at the half hour on every chart. I just wanted to kind of bring that up that we may have some decent signs. Money flow is coming out. VWAP's trying to cross bullish. If we zoom in, it is slightly crossed there, so that's a decent sign. We'll want that cross to get a little stronger. RSI is starting to slide, and our stochastic's not heading up like Bitcoin, so that's kind of concerning, but we do have a double green dot, so that is a bullish signal. We did make this full breakdown finally from this triangle, so I'm just going to delete the triangle but keep this bottom line because that is where our support from the pattern was, and that is likely where we will meet resistance at some point. Over on the 4 hour, our stochastics pretty overbought right now. RSI is not really gaining too much strength, even though our stochastic's giving it its strength. We have a bullish divergence on momentum though, so hopefully that can kind of help pick the RSI up. VWAP's kind of not too strong. We want to see that kind of strength in here, and our VWAP, our money flow, is kind of coming out. So 4 hours not looking too strong here either. We do have a, I don't know, might be able to call this a divergence as overall price is heading down here. Yeah, see, price is heading down overall. but our momentum wave overall is going up. So we do have a divergence that's really not highlighting, but our money flow is coming out and VWAP's starting to round off. Stochastic's about to give up some strength here. So the 2 hours looking very troublesome, even though we could have something to push us up. If we take a peek on the 1 hour, money flow is really close to breaking, just like Bitcoin. Momentum looks a little sketchy though. It could round off here. RSI is pointing down and our stochastic's starting to head down. So we're really going to need to pick it up here if we're going to gain positive momentum. Otherwise, this could be where we reject. Over on XRP, over on the daily, we are falling with this channel still. Momentum setting a new high, even though price is making lower highs, so we are getting a little divergence here. Money flow's coming out, VWAP's pretty weak. Stochastic's starting to curl though, and our RSI is somewhat sliding, but it's holding pretty decently considering how steep Stochastic's dropping. Over on the 4 hour, we are getting some bullish signals here on our stochastic, and our money flow looks like it wants to curl up and cross bullish, so the 4 hour is looking pretty good. We are getting a green dot here, stochastic's heading up, and our RSI bounced off that neutral zone and has kind of gone flat above it. So if that stochastic divergence can pick it up, that RSI will start to pick up, and maybe our momentum and money flow will start to break. If we look at the 2 hour, our money flow tried to break bearish, but we are heading up. Same with our VWAP. So very good sign here for XRP. Our RSI is heading up after bouncing off that neutral area, and our stochastic is starting to recover after taking a little bit of a dip. The 1 hour, money flow is starting to come out. So I'd be a little cautious that this may not sustain itself, and we could see a breakdown rather than the break up we should get. We did already get our move up for the pattern before, so it is likely that even though we're still trading in it, we could break the opposite way. Stochastic's pretty overbought, so we have a lot of strength in the stochastic on the 1 hour, and RSI's heading up though. So if this money flow can recover, that'd be a positive sign. If not, I'd be a little skeptic. Over on algo, pretty similar to XRP looking. We have this downward channel we are just dropping from. Our momentum wave does have a double green dot. Our money flow did cross bearish though, so we do have a bearish cross on algo, but our VWAP is trying to break. However, we got a little bit of a break, but not that strong. Stochastic's pretty dead and RSI is sliding pretty harsh. Over on the 4 hour, our stochastic's heading up pretty strongly, and our RSI is starting to recover, and we're getting a bullish divergence on momentum. So we have a lot of bullish signals flashing, as well as a VWAP crossing up. So we're looking decent on the 4 hour, except for this money flow coming out. That means that it may not sustain if this money flow doesn't start to come in, as people are selling more than they're buying. Over on the 2 hour, money flow's coming out here as well. We have a divergence here as well. Stochastic's about to round off, and our RSI is about to round off. Same with our VWAP. Looks like momentum might curl over, and money flow's starting to curl over as well. Over on the 1 hour, we're kind of curling, and we're rejecting away from the neutral zone, so that's very skeptical. RSI and stochastic are heading down, so with that rejection and us heading down, we may have a bloodbath and might not get that break up. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.